After a cool few days in most of our area, temperatures will be warming up, and there's a cold front that's producing winds over 50 miles an hour right now. Where that front is headed, I've got the full forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas for you right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Rusty here from Meteo Mundo, giving you forecasts across the Caribbean and the Bahamas for this Monday, February the 12th. Hope you're having a great start to your week. We are going to have more changes on the way for a lot of us here. Warmer weather to begin with in most spots, but then another powerful cold front that will be moving in. So as we get started, thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. We'll start with what's happening right now, and that is yet another strong cold front beginning to work its way into the northwest Gulf of Mexico. There is a tremendous amount of wind associated with this. So that's the first thing I want to actually look at, are these winds on this Monday afternoon. We've had some winds in the oil rigs there, the offshore waters of the northwest Gulf of Mexico, showing wind gusts of over 50 miles an hour. Here are some over 40. It's getting very breezy through portions of the southeast United States into Florida. The winds are beginning to pick up in places like Cozumel and Cancun. We've had some breezes on the western side of Cuba, nearly 30 miles an hour. And we're starting to see some of that wind sneak over to the northwest Bahamas. Guess what? It's going to get breezier as we go deeper into our Monday and Tuesday as this front works its way into the area. But you can see here on this Monday afternoon that we've had a wind gust in Freeport of up to 33 miles an hour. Now the winds are obviously going to be turning back out of the north in this area to begin with, but the other big story is the wind direction for the rest of our friends in the Caribbean, and we're picking up a nice fresh breeze here in portions of Puerto Rico and St. Croix and Haiti, up to around 25 miles an hour from time to time, as our easterly winds begin to kick back in. And several of you wrote me, especially on Friday, to let me know that it was a very cool time in your area. Well, it was. Now, it's going to start to get warmer for most of us. One of the areas that's not going to get warmer are in the Bahamas with that front. We'll look at that coming up. But temperatures on this Monday afternoon are mainly in the 80s. We got a couple of spots that have been knocking on the door of 90 degrees. The Windward Islands have been very, very hot lately, relatively speaking, and the humidity as well. Dominica up to 90 degrees on this Monday afternoon. The upper 80s in a lot of other spots for us here. We'll talk more about some wind coming into the ABC Islands, but temperatures there in Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao are well into the upper 80s. It's mainly the low to mid 80s through portions of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. My friends in Jamaica, again, a little bit warmer on the eastern side of the island. Kingston up to around 86 right now. Montego Bay about 84. But certainly overall, our temperatures have come up over the weekend and early on this Monday. And generally speaking, they're going to be staying warmer for the week ahead. And the main reason why is going to be our wind direction. So this is a look at the wind vectors for the week. Now, when I put this into motion, you'll notice a couple of things. The biggest key is that we're picking back up our easterlies through basically all of the Caribbean, okay? That's going to transport in warmer and more humid air again, and this east breeze is going to be freshening up and could produce some swells on the eastern and the northern side of portions of the Leeward Islands. So keep that in mind for the boaters as well, and even for the beachgoers. But these purple and pinks are winds of over 20 knots, and you notice the wind direction for a good part of our area will be staying out of the east. Jamaica would be included in that as well, although when you get into the northwest Caribbean, winds in general are going to be a little bit lighter. So although we'll stay with the easterlies, they're just not going to be as strong for the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, into portions of Central America and the Yucatan. And again, our big wind shift area, as you would imagine, is going to be in the Bahamas, especially the central and the northwest Bahamas. A complete 360 of the winds are coming your way over the week ahead. We'll start off with a southwest wind today. We'll swing it out of the north to northeast as we get into Wednesday, and then they come right back out of the south as we get into our Thursday and Friday and even early into the weekend. Obviously, this is one area was going to have impacts from this front and the opportunity for some cooler weather to dive in. So if you notice that on Valentine's Day, Wednesday, most of the Bahamas will have winds out of the north, but most of our area will still stay with an easterly breeze. in the Turks and Caicos. That'll be an area that will have variable winds, some out of the north, some mainly out of the east. So again, overall temperatures will be coming up a bit as well. But I got to show you these wind gusts. I want you to take a look at this, guys, because I mentioned that we have some 50-mile-an-hour winds with that front. So where are those winds going? There is going to be a massive area of low pressure developing off of the east coast of the United States. So thankfully for us, the winds don't kick as far south as they did last week to bring us all of that rain and the north winds and the much cooler weather to the Caribbean and places like Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands and the Northern Leeward Islands. But we are going to see some winds over 50 knots in strength with this area of low pressure wrapping up. Of course, this time of the year along the United States northeast coast, that's called a nor'easter. But look at that wind blow up. And I will mention, if anyone knows anyone who lives in Bermuda, we got some subscribers who live in Bermuda, as we get into tomorrow and then on Wednesday, look at these winds. Again, if you look at your scale up top there, 40, 50, maybe even slightly higher than that knots and gusts. Extremely, extremely powerful wind maker coming off of the United States East Coast. But obviously, this misses our area to the north. It will glance the Northwest Bahamas tomorrow and early on Wednesday, but generally speaking, not as much wind as other areas to the north. Now, the easterlies are going to be picking up, and I just want to mention what's going to be happening in the ABC Islands. I said it a little bit earlier that we're going to get some good wind there, relatively speaking, to the rest of the Caribbean. We're actually going to have a little bit of wind coming off the mainland. And the model's picking up on some winds right now that could be somewhere between 20 and 30 knots. These would be in gusts. These would be, breezy conditions. They're not going to be very hard sustained winds for any length of time, but obviously impacts with the winds will accompany some of this and bring in some moisture as well. We'll have the opportunity for some showers there. And it just becomes a little bit windier overall in the Southern Caribbean. And again, generally speaking, winds will be out of the east at this time. All right, let's go island by island and take a look at some of the rain. So I'm going to switch over to our rain product here. This is our future track rain over the next 5 days, and I'll throw this into motion. So let's do that. Now, relatively speaking, this is a drier front coming in. We'll look at the Bahamas forecast with this front coming up in just a second. But I'll start. What do you say we start in the Turks and Caicos, Hispaniola, and Puerto Rico, where I expect some scattered showers to accompany the easterly breeze here and even just a little tick of wind out of the north, but it's not as potent of a storm system as last week. It doesn't have the moisture to play with, and it's certainly not going to pull in the driving north wind. So for places like San Juan and Puerto Rico in general, which dealt with some flooding and even some power problems last week, I don't expect that to be the case. It's just not going to be as potent of a system. The winds aren't going to be as strong. There'll be fresh breezes. There'll be some rain here and there for places like St. Thomas and St. John and St. Croix on over towards Tortola and the rest of the BVI, but isolated rain. Again, eastern sides of the islands could pick up some swells, and I'll keep an eye on the surf and sea conditions. It's the same way, if I get the Leeward Islands back on the map here, for my friends in Anguilla and St. Kitts and Nevis and Barbuda and Antigua, Montserrat, Guadeloupe would certainly be included in this. Isolated rain coming in with the east breeze. Temperatures going up a little bit. Humidity going up a little bit. Easterly swells also going up a bit as well for places like Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Barbados will be included in that as well. And again, as we pull in these east winds through the week, we eventually pull in more moisture. It's still going to be shallow in nature, but at least the opportunity for a few more showers across the Leeward Islands, especially Thursday and Friday. So generally speaking, my forecast is for rain chances to improve as we go through the week, with the easterlies just pulling in more and more moisture. Again, it's going to be mainly light rain, or at least nothing more than a passing downpour. I don't expect a lot of heavy concentrated activity, but late in the week, it's something I will keep an eye on, especially Friday and into the weekend. For Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, again, we're still going to see some moisture coming in. So it's the same situation. Now, this is one of the areas where temperatures could actually stay above 90 degrees over the next 5 days. It's not out of the question the humidity is coming along for the ride with the east to southeast breeze. So for my friends in Trinidad and Tobago, it's a 20% chance for showers this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon. Notice that it increases rain chance. And if you live anywhere in the Leeward Islands, this is the general forecast for the temperatures to get a little bit warmer, for the rain chance to get a little bit higher through the week. Very breezy conditions Thursday and Friday. Look at these daytime highs, 90, 91 each and every afternoon for places like Port of Spain and other areas of the island. So again, pretty steamy for this time of the year. Real quickly, friends, just want to let everyone know again, we're doing memberships here at Meteo Mundo. It's a great way if you would like to say thanks and support the channel. Of course, you get member access to exclusive forecast videos, custom badges, and emojis. It's 99 cents a month. If you'd like to think of a way to help support what we're doing here at Meteo Mundo, again, just click that join button. And if you haven't, for some reason, I don't know why, click the subscribe button right now, become a subscriber, notification bell on, and thank you so much for liking the video. It helps us out as well. Continuing on here, we'll get to the ABC Islands next, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. And again, we're going to see more moisture return with our southerly breeze. So it's the same kind of forecast that the Leeward Islands is going to see. It's just not as concentrated. I do expect a little bit more in the way of a few showers later in the week for the islands. But the bigger story really is going to be that wind. I think it's going to be a strong east to southeast wind at 20 to 30 knots in the afternoon hours, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I'll be watching you guys down there for that wind. On over towards Jamaica, my friends in Kingston, Port Moore, Spanish Town. Hope you guys had a great weekend. On over towards Port Antonio and Ocho Rios. Again, we're going to stay with an easterly breeze here. It's not going to be extremely strong. It still favors slightly the eastern side of the island, catching a little bit more rain, a little bit warmer on the eastern side of the island compared to Montego Bay and Negril and Savannah Lamar. But I don't see anything that says, hey, there's a much higher chance for rain on the eastern side compared to the western side, or on the higher terrain areas, Mandeville, Maypen area, on over towards Old Harbor, everyone with some isolated shower chances. Now, I mentioned today, Kingston got up to 86 already. Guess what, guys? We're going to be making a run closer to 90 degrees as we get into Wednesday. So heat and humidity returning to my friends in Jamaica. I'll keep a really close eye on that. Scattered showers will also be in the forecast for portions of Central America and the Yucatan as well. Part of this will be with that cold front coming in. Going to let this loop one more time. You can see those showers drifting off towards the south, developing along the coastline. So places like Roatan and Belize City, a little bit higher chance for rain the next couple of days. Isolated to scattered showers, and if nothing else, some cloudy and breezy conditions for Cancun and Cozumel as that front comes by. And again, you can kind of just get an idea on that. The rain moving in tomorrow, then trying to drift off towards the south, but the front never fully clears because, again, this isn't as powerful of a front as the one we had last week. So the winds kind of begin to fizzle and dissipate. We never get a strong north breeze in Cancun, and eventually that moisture will end up going away. Now, again, one area that could have some big transition with this front is going to be my friends in the Bahamas. Freeport, Marsh Harbor, Dunmore Town, and places like Nassau, Alice-Town there in Bimini. Again, this will not have as much rain, and it won't have as much wind as the last front, but it's still going to bring in some relatively cool conditions. So let's stair-step this out here. First thing I'm going to do, let's go ahead and switch over to the HER model real fast. Again, this is a little bit higher resolution model in this neck of the woods. And we'll go back over to reflectivity, and then I'll pull this out until early Wednesday morning, and we'll let this loop up. What you're going to see is a very thin line of showers work its way into the area as we get into tomorrow. They'll be fast moving. They can produce a quick little downpour, but they're not going to last in one area very long. So overall, rain chances with this front will be much weaker. There'll still be some gusty winds, but it's not going to be an extremely strong wind. So a 20% chance at best for a shower throughout the day. Here comes our front. It's very clear to see. There's your wind shift line right there early tomorrow morning. Your winds will start out of the south to southwest. They'll turn out of the north to northeast. Here comes this light smattering of rain coming through as it gets towards New Providence. In Andros and Eleuthera, it does begin to break apart. It doesn't make it much farther south than that. A lot of the central side of the islands will only see at best an isolated shower and into the Turks and Caicos. And that's it, guys. That's it for the rain with this one, so there's not going to be nearly as much rain with it. As far as the winds go, again, we had gale warnings with the last front last week. I still expect us, especially in Grand Bahama and Walker's Key, so for West End and High Rock and Freeport and those areas, to maybe pick up some winds tomorrow that will gust from time to time up to 30 knots. Small craft should certainly exercise caution for tomorrow at worst, and maybe even think about staying in port. Winds will turn out of the north but become a lot lighter as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, and I've already mentioned the 360 back to the south as we get towards late Thursday and Friday, but just not as much wind and rain overall with this next front. But again, if we were farther north and east, we'd be talking about gale conditions for sure moving back into that area. So looking at the Grand Bahama forecast for the next 5 days, I've got a 20% chance for showers today, some breeze. Now again, the winds pick up overnight into our Tuesday, so windy with showers eventually turning out of the north, about a 40% chance for the quick passing shower variety. Plenty of sunshine and much cooler weather again. Nice little front gets us down to 74 on Wednesday, 73 on Thursday, a mix of sun and clouds, and just a 20% chance for a shower on Friday, or back up to 20% chance for some showers there. So again, relatively speaking, we're going to get warmer, we're going to get more humid, and then I'll be tracking the wind and the rain with this next front coming in, certainly impacting areas in our north and to our west. But again, good breeze, going to kick up some of the surf and sea conditions as well. Friends, you can follow us across all of social media. There's where you can find us. We're on the TikTok and Instagram. We've got an X page, Facebook, and you guys really have found us in all those places. Our followers are going up in each and every spot. And if you want to send me a picture or a video, mymeteomundo@gmail.com. Of course, if you ever have a question about the forecast, drop it in the comments section below. I always love to hear from you. Just let me know how things have been. Maybe if you want to see a certain kind of weather, what you're looking forward to. I appreciate it. Again, subscribers, thank you so much for liking the video. And if you haven't become a subscriber and you want the latest daily forecasts across the Caribbean and Bahamas, hit subscribe right now. Have a great one, friends. I'll see you soon right here at Meteo Mundo.